We're live. Welcome in, everybody. Sarcastic Grandpa. Sugar Rush. It's a classic summer Thursday.
What?
That's what it is. It's classic summer Thursday. Classic summer therapy Thursday. That's what I've titled this stream.
What is a classic summer Thursday?
Classic summer therapy Thursday.
Okay, we can throw that in there.
That's what today is, Jason. I have deemed
Today's
it,
therapy is to find out
so.
why Chris is so sad.
Why? Best paid period. That's right. Rattlecan.
Going on, Rattlecan.
Nobel Peace Prize goes to Rattlecan.
Thumb Palette, Ryan Rooney, Paint Liquor, Sugar
Ryan
Rush.
Rooney.
Grandpa, what's happening? Nibling.
Today is my Friday. Tomorrow is my B day, but I'm spending the day grocery shopping and getting a haircut. Nice. I love those kinds of days.
Today's Friday for me.
Today's Thursday.
If you consider
for the world.
Saturday to be when you fly to Indianapolis to go hang out with a bunch of nerds in a hall full of hundreds of thousands of people.
That's
on Saturday.
That's it.
Danger Boy, you're very welcome, and thank you for tuning in.
Yes.
Hello. Stuck working for the next 3 hours.
Hey, we'll thank you.
Boy, Natos, I understand. I am stuck working for the next 2 hours. It's horrible. I feel you. I am right there with you, brother. Oh, wait.
Are we working? This is work. This is separate.
Chris, believe it or not, this is work.
This is work.
This is work. It's not like a trial most of the time, although you do your best to make it so.
A trial for you?
A trial.
A trial, like as in you got to get through it?
Like, yeah. Like, holy hell,
Okay.
What did I do to deserve this?
Old man, look at my life. I'm a lot like you. That's funny.
Hey, you settle down over there, brushes.
What?
Like some brush tubes fell over while you were singing. It's like instead of breaking glass, you knock brushes over
Neil
with your,
Young's
with, your,
alive,
with
right?
your tonal quality.
Welcome in, everybody.
Hello.
It is a Thursday. Panic Bomb.
Howdy.
290 stream streak. Panic Bomb. That
Not
is
possible.
actually ludicrous.
Not possible. I don't believe it. I don't believe it. I
That's,
need proof.
That's
Screenshots won't count.
That's pretty
need
crazy.
video.
Danger Boy says, I bake in painting time into my work day from 2 to 4. I'm making phone calls.
Awesome.
That's insane. That's cool. We like that for you and your hobby journey. It's pretty silly. Yeah, Panic Bomb. 290 days? That's just, that is silly. I don't know what to tell you.
And what he means by that is he doesn't have the words.
I don't know the words.
He didn't have the words.
Michael Holtz, what's going on? Thumbpal says, I've got about 50, then I have a break streak. 290 is literally crazy. Yeah, I know. Crazy.
It's insane.
Ooh, what color is this, Jason?
Crazy and insane.
Is this dark neutral gray?
Ah, see? Look at that, Chad. He got it in one.
I did?
Got it
Woo-hoo.
in one, Christopher. Never
Nice.
cease to impress me, my boy.
I'm so glad I got that right. Whew. Wipe the sweat from my brow. Where is this model from? This is one of the new Saturnine Terminator Primariles.
This is the
What's his name?
Praetor.
Praetor.
The Praetor in Saturnine armor.
It's a cool model.
It's all right if you're into that sort of thing.
It's all right.
I like it. I'm into that sort of thing. Big chunky shoulder boy.
Amp says my base set and glaze and wash medium is on the way.
Awesome.
Nice. If you haven't tried that glaze and wash medium, it's gonna blow your mind.
It is a fantastic product.
Nibling says, shouldn't he know every paint color by look by now? I've tried.
He's
I tried
pretty
Nibling.
good.
Sometimes I don't know.
He's pretty good. The only reason I get on him is the times where, like most times, where I go like this. While he's yip-yapping away at chat.
I'm looking at chat.
He's like, hoo-hoo, chat. Do-do-do-do. I'm the boat. Do-do-cap. Do-do-do-do. Garden hose. And then all of a sudden, I'm like back in the ground going, serious business. I'm painting with this color. And
Wow.
I'm looking at you, chat, showing you the color, while Muppet Boy is over there doing his thing. And then it comes back over and he goes, "Hey, Jason, how come you don't tell us what color you're using?"
Wow. I feel attacked.
You should.
I
felt like that was pretty good.
Personally attacked.
I feel like that was pretty good.
I guess so. Sure.
I guess so.
You're on the boat. There it is. There it is. He's taking
A+ sushi impression.
He's weaponizing my metaphors.
I have been waiting my whole life to do this performance.
You guys must not have an HR department. AMP, we do, and they're against me too. So there you go.
You guys must not have an HR department.
Wow.
I tried to call the HR department in to get him out of my office.
Oh my gosh. You're just letting yourself go today. You just flying right now. Let him fly. He'll dance.
Let him cook.
Yeah. Try to get Ellie involved again.
I tried to. Well, you had me,
okay.
Which is I appreciate and abhor all at the same time.
Right.
You had me in stitches this morning. I have not laughed that hard in quite a long time. He came in and like just straight face, deadpanned this whole routine in my office this morning for his. Okay, chat. You know he has his Friday standing meeting with me, right? Where he comes in and discusses all about nothing.
Yeah.
And he just jibber jabbers for about 15 seconds and then sits there saying, "I still have 14 minutes and 45 seconds."
I do.
He does. He says his time efficiency is king. And then he sits there and wastes my time. So, but he came in and today was just in rare form. Christopher, you deserve top marks for this morning because I literally was busting a gut.
I'm glad
because he straight faced the whole thing and was just completely absurd through the entire meeting.
Oh boy, if you were only there, chat.
It was pretty good, right?
If you're only there, I meant all of it.
Well, yeah, you were pretty rude to me, by the way.
Hey, Jason will do this thing where he starts.
I think he called me boy. I think at one point in time he goes, "So what's the problem, boy?" Or something like that. I couldn't stop laughing. I was like, "Why is this happening?" Of course, now everybody in the office is going to call me boy and be like, "Will you let Chris do it?"
I like that Jason's rest of the office impression is the Swedish Chef. Jason says,
squirrely.
Michael Holt says, but it's helpful because some of us in meetings or buried in work to pay for my. Yes, that's right, Michael Holtz. I asked you, chat, how long a typical office meeting should last, and you voted for 15 minutes and or 30 seconds max. So, just saying, it's out there. I've weaponized my survey.
You've weaponized it. You have to do what the people say.
Well, according to the survey.
Jason, according to the people, this is what they want. I was like, well, the people aren't here right now, Christopher.
Let the people decide.
No, he said boy like Kratos.
Kratos.
Come here,
yes,
boy.
I did. Oh, my gosh. Great soundtrack, by the way, from the original God of War.
You're late to the stream today. Quick question. Do y'all come to any conventions in Houston, Texas? We don't currently.
Houston? Is there any in Houston?
There are probably some local regional. I know that we supported a small convention in Houston and another one in Austin. But no, not generally. We don't travel to anything other than we do LVO, Gen Con, Gamma, Adepticon, Nova. Those are the big ones that we travel to. And then we do Spiel in Essen over in Germany. Scale Model Challenge that's coming up, and Contrast in Europe, and we'll probably add more to Europe as we grow there. But yeah, unfortunately we don't have the personnel to be able to go to every one that we wish we could go to. There are a lot more that we really enjoy, but we definitely reach out and sponsor them and help them out with price support and things like that.
Yeah. Oh, nice! Bought a bunch at the Monument booth at Gen Con, and Shelby rang me up. Nice.
Awesome.
Super cool.
Did you give her hell? Did you give the whole group hell? I hope you did. I hope everybody goes by and razzes the crap out of them. Jason said, "Don't let him get away with that tomfoolery."
That tomfoolery. Welcome in, everybody. We are painting up some cloak today.
I'm just skipping around. I'm skipping around from thing to thing to thing.
Because you were planning on doing this like an off-white, right?
I feel like that's what I want to do.
Yeah. An off-white? What's an on-white? Right?
Well, Chet, we had about 11 minutes of peace. And now...
No.
Now it's gone.
I'm asking a real... I know you want to do an off-white, but what's an on-white? I want an off... I would like an off-green cloak, but what about the on-green cloak? Chaos Angel says, "What's the plan for the black area in between the shoulder pads?" ?
That's probably what we'll work on today. It's Payne's steel. Gray. It's non-metallic steel kind of color.
Yeah,
and you're plasteel, whatever the heck kind of Warhammer World material you want to call it, but it's going to be like steel. I'm going to do it in my traditional dark blue style base, hence the Payne's Gray, so that as I lighten it up, we get a cool balance color to all the red and the warmth of the gold. Make sense? That's the gist of it. I reserve the right to change my ideas at any time during the course of painting a model.
You don't typically get a plan. You don't have a plan.
I typically don't paint to a plan, no. I kind of make it up as I go, right? That's just the way I'm comfortable with it.
Sulfurish says, "Chris has my partner exasperated in the kitchen. Oh, on white is just white. I don't know what to tell this guy."
Yeah. Hey,
Hey,
partner.
Oh, no.
Partner, I am glad that you are on my side because this is my day. This is my day. And my whole day is spent with this kind of nonsense. It's like having a perpetual 2-year-old, but it's much smarter.
What?
Much smarter than your average drunken baby 2-year-old.
Oh, boy. I am not a drunk. On white is just white, sir. Commando. I love it. I like that. What brush size is that, Jason? It's the 00.
I don't know. I've used 3 already. I just keep picking up a different brush. I think that was a 00.
Roll for painting.
Yeah,
those are our Dauntless brushes, if you need to know. Does he require a snack every hour? No, I don't. All I need is a little water, a little sunlight. That's pretty much it.
And
a treadmill to walk on.
And electrolytes, because that's what plants crave.
Big Bob says, "I don't know. My kiddo isn't 2, and he seems to make more sense than Chris most of the days." Yikes! Call me out, Big Bob. That was public.
You kind of called Bob out yesterday.
I did.
When you were like, you know how I talk to people at conventions? That was Bob you were talking about.
That's true.
I knew it. You knew it. I just don't know if Bob knew it. So I just want to let Bob know that you are vindicated now, sir.
Oh, no free pub. No free pub for Big Bob.
Jen used that yesterday.
No free pub?
Jen was like, no free pub.
No free pub. We draw a crowd. No free pub.
No free pub.
All these snack companies need to start sponsoring us.
I want fruit roll-ups. Or whatever this company is that has these fruit treats that I've been enjoying lately.
Whatever company makes that glass palette, fruit roll-ups. What else? What else we got up there?
We're gonna just start being the NASCAR.
Yeah,
we're our own manufacturer, but we're going to start doing other manufacturers as sponsors. We want
great idea,
like a water company and whatever this is. Who's this? Pure organic, non-GMO layered fruit bar raspberry lemonade. I only want to be sponsored by the raspberry lemonade flavor though, because the rest of them are butt.
Oh, man.
But this one's really good.
Avian says, "Question on the challenge.
This thing is everything free. Does it even have anything in it? Because it's like
GMO, gluten-free, boobly-free, boobly-free.
It has apple puree concentrate, apple juice concentrate, lemon juice concentrate, citrus pectin, vegetable and fruit juice for color, raspberry juice concentrate, and then the almighty natural flavors that technically, according to the FDA, can mean anything. So that's how they get you.
Natural
they say it's
flavors
healthy because they put natural flavors on there, but natural flavors can be
bugs,
anything.
Literal bugs.
Literal bugs. It has crickets.
Question on the challenge, says Avian. "I'm at the point of blank, blank, blank. I can do no more, but I'm now questioning my ability to do so. It's acceptable to drop a picture on the challenge to get a critique?" No.
Nope. We don't do that.
We don't do that, Avian.
That's the one thing we will not do.
We will go over those. Chris may need a snack, but he needs a nap. That's true. I might need a nap today. I'm a little foggy.
He didn't eat lunch. I tried to get him to eat lunch today, which is against my better judgment most times. But I did. I tried to get him to eat lunch. And he said, "Not today." And now he's blowing his nose.
Sorry. I'm muting myself so you guys don't have to hear that. Oh, man. Yes, Jezzy Who says you can make your own roll-ups by making rows of paint on a nonstick sheet and then letting it dry. Bam, instant snack. No, don't eat the paint. I see what you tried to do there, Jezzy. You tried to fool me. What's up, Lumberjack?
Wait, hey, but what if... Okay, listen.
Hey, man.
Hey, man. Listen, though. I'm a knife hand.
Hear me out.
So with knife hands...
That's what my brother does to me. He's like, hey, buddy.
Hey, buddy.
Okay, what's that?
So, what if this would be a great use for like the leavings and the paint.
Okay.
After we mix it.
The leavings
is that we could do like cookie sheets of colors, and then we could let them cure, and then we could scrape them up, roll them up, and put them in packages that people could buy.
What?
Yeah.
What would we say?
The idea from chat. It was a great idea.
We don't want to encourage people to eat them.
Well, we wouldn't say eat it. But if you rolled it up and put it in a nice package,
then they wouldn't eat it.
And you could just call it paint roll-ups.
Fruit by the foot. Paint by the foot.
Paint by the foot.
Fruit roll-ups. Paint roll-ups.
Paint roll-ups.
It's like what you.
We don't say you can eat it
from your dry palette. That's what you're trying.
In the fine print, it says, "Please do not eat.
Well,
please do not consume or feed to children under the age of 14."
Pigment roll-ups, okay.
Pigment roll-ups.
Ooh,
right.
How much would we charge?
$100. Like a lot.
$100 a roll-up.
I think it's like $20 a case.
$20 a case? That's cheap.
I feel like $20 a case is a fair price to pay.
$1,000 a case.
No, I think $20.
I say we could try it.
And then we just get the attorneys on full alert.
You got to get the attorneys in here.
So...
Hey, by the way, we're going to sell these pigment roll-ups. Jesse says, I've never been more proud. Hey, we listen to you. We don't just sit here and answer questions. We listen, too. I am not a brush licker.
Heck no.
I don't do
That's where this all started. Don't eat the paint.
I don't do that.
Don't eat the paint.
It's not good for you, chap.
Not good for you. Non-toxic does not mean edible.
But
the it's amount of time. So when we started the don't eat the paint thing,
yeah,
you would not believe how many questions I got from people on social media saying, wait, I thought you said it was non-toxic. And I was like, whoa, let's back up here. Okay.
Wait a second.
I've told more people in a serious context that non-toxic does not mean edible than I should have ever had to in my life because of this fun campaign that we ran. Yes. But we had literal people that were like serious about it. They were like, but it says non-toxic.
It doesn't matter. Just don't eat it.
I would tell you to go through the hardware store because there are plenty of things in the hardware store that say non-toxic on them.
I ain't eating those.
Nothing at the hardware store that isn't in bags of chips by the checkout counter is edible.
Tell that to my cats. Oh, their poops are probably really cool though, Lumberjack. Not gonna. I don't.
Rocks are also non-toxic. Well, it depends. Rocks? There are some heavy metals out in nature that are fairly toxic. I don't know that I go eating rocks.
Everybody stop eating the paint.
Yeah, don't eat the paint. Don't eat rocks. Don't eat the paint.
Drink the paint water. Same thing. We've been over this before.
Don't do any of this. This is all bad. Please don't. I kind of want to work on this cloak.
Oh, they drink your paint water. Ew.
Kind of. Want to work on this cloak a little more.
But you are gonna stick it with that off-white a little bit. Like your lion?
Yeah, I'm going to do like off-white.
Nice.
We started with slate gray. I'm going to go to cool gray.
And then you're going to do that whatever that thing is on the back afterwards.
I don't know. I don't have a plan.
When you're doing a cloak, how do you approach a cloak and the ripples and such?
How do you approach a cloak and the ripples?
Here's...
How do you mean?
Cloaks for me are tough because of the ripples in the fabric.
Oh, okay, right? Like the low spots and all that.
Yeah. How do you approach this?
Well, okay, so as you'll watch me right here, I'll bring a little bit of the slate gray over into the cool gray. So I get kind of a 50-50 mix. And then what I'll start with is just kind of hovering this, sketching over the top of the folds.
Yeah.
Right? So that I'm not going into those spots. And if I see then this little spot comes out a little bit further again, so I'll do that.
Yeah.
Then this one. Right? Over to the corner maybe.
Uh-huh.
And again, just kind of sketching around, seeing how I like it. Get up in here.
So you're looking for raised areas?
Yeah, the way this sculpt is, of course, is got very pronounced raised spots along it.
Yeah.
So I'll just do that. And focus in on the high point of the folds, and then do little short brush strokes from the shadowed inside to the hump. Like so. So that I keep that brighter line down the middle, and you'll start to see if I hold in the light like that. So you start now getting some volume to it.
Yeah.
But you can see how this area down here is just a little bit too dark.
Yep.
So I might come down and bring a little bit more of this color up onto the hump from this way. You know, because it's what's the best way to say it? It forms little arches. And those arches aren't like corners, so they don't just fall off into darkness immediately. You just need to be careful, because like this one faces downward more often. Yeah. And so I will leave the bottom of that one dark. But these I'll kind of blend up to the hump in the center.
Yeah,
right?
I see.
So that you give it that gentle curved feeling. This is how you would like highlight a sphere or a shape like that. And again, just take, brief, short brush strokes, bringing them from where you want it to be darker up to the bright potted on the top. And then you see now we're starting to get some volume out of that. Just with a quick sketch.
Yeah.
There's no blending really.
Right.
It's just taking some time to move your brush to the high spot, remembering that where you move your brush to is where you want the color, so that you leave more pigment where your brush stops up on the top and less down behind, which gives you a little bit of a blend. And then you just kind of feather those edges a little bit, play it how you like until you get it to look pretty good. Now this mid-tone color is not super bright, so again, mixing a color that doesn't jump you up too far in contrast immediately is a good way to approach it.
Yeah. And then you just slowly work out.
Yeah. Just put more of your bright color into your dark color in this case, using the colors that I'm using.
Yeah, right. Yeah, cloaks for me, I don't know why they're so tough.
Fabric can be hard because of that, because it doesn't have necessarily a hard edge that you can highlight to.
Yeah.
These folds up top are pretty abrupt, and you can highlight them a little bit more like, a normal panel.
Yeah.
But you want to be careful to not make it too high contrast, because it'll start to look like a hard surface, which fabric doesn't, unless it's like some sort of magical fabric that's shiny.
Yeah.
Then you can actually get away with painting it almost like non-metallic.
Right.
If I didn't highlight those spots on the back of that thing. And the gold. Right.
That Tri-Cat says, I have some Votan with some long trench coats.
Yep. I like those models.
That I want to paint similar to. Do you have any advice, though, for getting the weathered leather look on a cloak or a long cloak?
Same way you would with anything else, right? Using, when I paint leather and I want it weathered, I use a really hatchy brush stroke, right? A lot of this going on as I'm putting my colors on after the base coat. So when I put the base coat on, I might do my next color with a lot of very open, sketchy brush strokes that give me that texture. And then my next color would go in and maybe angle the brush strokes a little bit more, called cross hatching. And then as you do your highlight, hatch it again the other way. So you get this really scritchy surface as you work to the highlight with your lines intersecting.
Yeah.
That helps a lot. And you just think that you do your first color very tight together, but you can still see the lines. That's kind of your mid-tone. Then your first highlight, you start going across that a little bit looser, and then your highlight a lot looser than that. So you're building up that messy, scritchy look. And you can do that all over the cloak. And the nice thing is it doesn't have to be consistent, like down this doesn't have to be the same spacing of lines. You can do this area, then this area, this area. It's that finding a comfort in painting very loose, I call it.
Yeah.
You know, you see me do this quite often where my brush strokes get very sketchy. I'm just kind of smacking the brush against the model and not caring about whether or not it's smooth and blended, because I'm really just hunting for shapes. I'm hunting for how a color looks at a specific spot, things like that, and not as concerned with finished product. A lot of artists will call it sketching.
Mm-hmm. Tim says, "Oh, I almost forgot. Today, 16 years ago, I set out to get completely wasted and declared it was my last night ever of drinking. All my friends said I'd be drinking the next day. 16 years later, I'm still sober. That's awesome,
Tim,
man.
Congrats, buddy.
That's big
That's
stuff.
awesome.
That's big stuff.
I just
Thank you for
sharing.
sharing.
Went out to lunch yesterday with a buddy of mine who's been sober for 16 years.
Nice. That's a big deal.
Feat. Big
feat.
Deal. Love to hear it. Hope it's treating you well. Of course, you bought a grill, so maybe you should go back to drinking.
Well, you did buy a grill.
You did buy a grill, though.
Is that the only way you can drink if you own a grill? That's the only way. So you're going to go up a little bit more on the cloak then now? I guess, when do you know when to stop?
What do you mean?
Like, when do you know when it's too bright on this cloak?
Well, I'm going to white.
You're going to white.
Right.
Well, like, not actual white, though.
Not actual white.
Right. Like, the feeling of white.
Yeah. Again, like I told you the other day, come back with my next brighter color, keep it very thin, and sketch it in over my previous color, seeing how I like the placement, how wide I can go before it starts to overtake the color, but it's very low opacity because I have a lot of water on my brush before I went to the palette to get this color, right?
Is this an off-white or an on-white? Just
Appetite, good question. I don't know. After talking to Chris, no clue. No clue.
Oh, you're talking about a grill.
He got gold fronts.
Dude, I thought you were talking about like a grill.
Oh,
grill.
no,
like
not
an
like a backyard
grill.
Dadmaster 5000, weekend grill. No, he's got like he's got gold fronts.
Oh, okay. I literally thought you were like, "Oh, Tim got a grill."
Nice. Tim is secretly an orc. He's got gold teeth.
That's awesome. That's even better than I thought. That's funny.
You weren't around when we were having the discussion about how his Russian girlfriend does not like the gold teeth.
That's awesome. I'm over here like, what kind of grill did you get?
It's a Grill Master 5000. Tim, you could have ridden that joke for a while.
Yeah, you could have.
I got it in gold. It's got
like,
diamond inset on the lid.
A gold grill, Tim. Jason, can you explain a little bit of the difference well, not really the difference. Explain, somebody was asking about, is there a difference really with the amp paints?
No. Some of them have a less matte finish. I won't say they're satin, but the team at Atomic Mass likes their paint just a little less matte than our standard line.
Yeah.
So they have a little less of a matte across the board.
Mm. They're awesome.
But I would tell you, it's very hard to notice the difference between them and our normal paints.
Dark navy blue has been a really fun
It's a fantastic color, right?
I like Payne's Gray. Payne's Gray is like one of my favorite shadow colors, but I've switched over to using the dark navy blue just to make it pop just a little more.
Yeah.
It's super cool.
That makes sense.
Yes, all of our paints are, well, I should say all of them. There's a couple select effect ones that we have, like the dark crimson. That's gloss, but
yeah, dark crimson and petroleum brown.
Yep.
Have got a gloss to them. Those were done as signature colors with artists. So when the artist creates a color, they have an idea that they project to me, like, here's where I use this most. And so we try to stay true to the artist representation in the signature line of what their goal with the paint is. And Ben and Matt were the first two that came out with paints that were specifically for things like blood effect, right? And oil stains that they use. And they like to have that sheen, which is great. Or the rest of our line is traditionally matte, as you know, if you've painted with any of our colors.
Jesse Who says that Payne's Gray wash is so good.
It's amazing, right?
I almost have stopped.
It's a wash you didn't know you needed your whole life, and then when you get it, you're like, holy.
I've stopped using just like a traditional black wash.
Yeah. The Payne's Gray replaces it in a lot of situations.
It's very cool. When does chat get its own signature series? When you send me $1 million check.
What?
There you go.
Are you splitting that with me?
I will.
Okay.
We'll make a chat signature series if you send us $1 million check, chat.
All right.
How's that? Does that sound fair, Jason?
It wouldn't even take me a swift beat if $1 million check shows up and cashes at the bank. Chet's got a signature set.
Yeah, there you go. Start a GoFundMe.
There you go, $1 million GoFundMe for a chat signature set.
Not a Kickstarter, a GoFundMe.
You wanted
the charity. You wanted the
industry to stop taking Monument Hobbies seriously. That's how you do it.
We're not going to do Kickstarters here. We're going to do GoFundMes instead.
You've given other paint companies $1 million just to start their business. Now give us $1 million just to make a paint line for you.
Nibling says, I'm waiting for Christmas sushi set series that includes pink slip pink, pasta sauce red, spaghetti tan.
All right, I'm all over this.
Is that all I am to you people?
I love this. Kyle is over there
green.
just absolutely cracking up.
Spaghetti tan.
Spaghetti tan.
My God. Pasta
you just call it Getty tan.
Oh no. I would concur.
Concur? I concur.
I concur.
I'll
Spaghetti tan. Oh my gosh.
So again, I'm just pulling a little bit more of the cool gray into the mixture each time. Since I'm doing all of this by brush, sometimes it's nice to just slowly work up to your brightest color.
Yeah.
Rather than just jamming it on there.
Yeah, I think something with a cloak. I just need to practice cloaks. That's something I will be a traditional. I'll just do them in a big layer and I won't do any sketching on them. So I just need to practice.
The nice thing with cloaks is that it gives you the opportunity to be sketching. It makes sense because it's fabric.
It's fabric.
Right?
But then my sketches, they come out a little too thick.
Okay, then you paint a little bit more.
Yeah.
Press a little bit less with the brush, right?
Yeah.
If you pop in close, you'll notice that each one of my lines is done very loose. Like I'm not making very thick lines. See that?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Don't press very hard on the model. Just let the brush kind of skate across the surface lightly. And then work it back and forth as you need to. Keep going up and down the line. Make your lines closer together. Reinforce that color as you need to. And you get a blend without blending. You know, we're not even really feathering, but it looks like fabric because it gives you that kind of thread feeling in there. And the blend is all just because the colors I'm using are so close to one another, right? You see on my thumb, and by the time they dry, it doesn't look like there's much of a color difference.
Right.
But I've gone through 4 steps or 3 steps so far.
Yeah, I just need to practice it.
It's patience on stuff like this. It's determining, like with fabric, I don't like it to look super rough, but I can have some texture to it just to get across the idea of, you know, a cloak that's worn through war. Come on.
Yeah.
This isn't going to be like super smooth. Unless you're painting him that way, like he's, you know, right on parade ground.
Yeah.
Or something.
Avian's got a question.
Sure.
Okay, so did a Payne's Gray with a white-blue blend workup, then added green tint. It's too green for my taste. How to work it back into the dark, i.e. have the green as the top highlight and work back down into the shadows.
Mix the other direction and start glazing into the shadows is probably the right way. Gesundheit. Right?
Mm-hmm.
So you can work, you know, instead of dark to bright, work bright to dark. It's just do the mixes the other way. Is that too simple of an answer? Am I not hearing the problem? I feel like that's what I'm hearing.
I think that's a good one. Amp is asking, when you paint, do you have a story in your head, such as the bottom of the cloak is wet or muddy?
Usually at this stage, no. It might like become visible to me as I'm painting because of, like here we left the red showing through the shadows. So I have a neat kind of weird dirty look. This had overspray of red on it. We just kind of left it and I put the gray over the top. So it's giving me kind of a neat warm shadow to the gray. So there might be something that pops up along the way as a look that will influence me like, oh, you know what? That looks really cool. I'll go with that. I'll lean into that warm shadow and maybe put some, some warm brown as a muddy hem on the cloak or something.
Yeah.
You definitely have the opportunity to do so.
You have a story, though, every once in a while in your head, right?
Sometimes we'll start a model because, like a tank that we want to show weathering on.
Yeah, like
I'll know what where I'm going with it. I don't know that I start models a whole lot with an overall feel in mind. Like I said, for me, most of the time what I'm doing is I'm painting as if the model is new, fresh, clean, not weathered, and then I'm adding the weathering to it afterwards. So a lot of that happens towards the end. Like this armor looks brand new. Right?
Yeah.
We haven't done any weathering or anything like that. So when I start doing the edge highlighting, I'll see how I like it at the end of that, and then we'll do weathering if we need to. The other test model that I've done for this army, I didn't do any weathering on, right? There's no chipping or anything on them. It looks clean. I'm using the contrast of the Payne's Gray and the dark plum to give me kind of a darker, dirty shadow to the red, if you will.
Yeah.
So it's not, just red, 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 which makes it look a little shinier. By having the blue in there and cooling off the shadow makes it look a little rougher. But I'm not really doing any chipping or anything on them, and I'm kind of happy with that. I like the contrast on it, so we'll see where we get. But I could still work backwards in on that other model and put chipping on it and do weathering pigments and things like that and get a really great effect.
GC here says, I barely use Twitch and I had no idea hobby stuff was on here. Glad I randomly checked. I recently purchased the Signature Series White Blue, which really saved me.
Oh, it's a great color.
Doing my Emperor's Children.
Great color. I'll be using a lot of it here in a second.
And then Derpstick's asking, what's a good mix for metallic, like with our metallics for brass, like making brass? What's a good mix?
Ooh, I like the rich gold with like
could you use
transparent yellow?
Oh, rich gold with transparent yellow?
Yeah, because the yellow is the part you're going to lack. The rich gold's a little bit too orange to pull off brass, right? It's like a very warm gold, hence the name. But if you want to shift that to brass, try mixing in some of the transparent yellow with it. You could be happy with that.
Fat Man's Kitchen saying, any tips for coming up with a homebrew chapter color scheme that isn't quiet or noisy?
Great question.
That's a good one.
I typically think of colors that their vibrancy doesn't become noisy. I like that word. Greens and blues come to mind.
Yeah.
Obviously, you can have noisy greens and blues if you go too much into like turquoise or, pastels and things like that. But in the long and short of it, I think that blues give you a really good way to do that. Purples, unfortunately, feel a little disco if you're not careful, but you can do purple. Any color will work. You just have to reel it back in and make sure that you're not going overboard with how you treat highlights. Like, where do you stop it? Purple can look great if you stop in dark purples as your main color, and then only your highlights are bright. The moment that you go bright with your main midtones and such is where they start becoming disco, right? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
So, reds and things like that can be great for what you're talking about. You just have to be careful to not get them too bright.
And there's a lot of chapter colors out there.
Well, if you're doing your own homegrown, it can be whatever you want.
Yeah.
Military greens are really great. They're not too off-putting if you do them right, and they can have a good coloring to them. So military colors, and that is why I think greens and blues are kind of a good strong suit. Believe it or not, like really dark oranges can be cool because, again, they can not be very vibrant, but orange is a neat punchy color, so it rides that line very well. But I think greens and blues is where I would probably, if you said, hey, paint me an army that is neither too loud or too quiet.
Yeah.
I would probably go into greens and blues, or blues, and not together necessarily.
Yeah. Pickman saying, what about nickel azo yellow for brass?
It's a little too green.
With rich gold? Yeah, maybe.
Maybe, yeah, maybe. It'll perform kind of like it won't be as vibrant as the yellow transparent, but it could do the same thing. Nicolazzo's a fantastic color from our expert line. So now I'm brightening it up with the cool gray by itself pretty much. This is just it blending in with the other colors again. I'm not mixing it in with the slate gray anymore. I'm leaving a lot of water on the brush.
Yeah.
So that it doesn't take too much of have too much of an impact with going super opaque over the top. When you get to highlighting, unlike solid surfaces that we paint a lot, you have to be careful on fabrics that you don't just draw a line of color anywhere, right? Unless it's all across the top of a fold. So you want to have the paint thin enough that as you do your line, you can kind of feather out that edge and have it disappear into what's next to it and blend a little bit rather than just looking like a line.
Yeah. Derp6 says, don't have transparent yellow, but considering yellow is a weak kind of transparent color, could I use warm or gold yellow mixed with the rich gold?
I would try golden yellow. Yeah.
Golden yellow?
Yeah, golden yellow would work really well out of the base set. Thin it down a little bit. Play with that. You might need to, because it is going to still be more of an opaque color, even though it is a transparent pigment, per se. So you may need to use a speck of white in that as well. But that could work really well. I like that. That's looking good.
That's looking great.
I like that red kind of shadow to it. It keeps it on.
Yeah. Keeps it on theme.
Okie dokie, doggy daddy.
And so I guess are you thinking of like the next color workup on it? Or
I'm just going to transparent white it.
Just transparent white it. Oh.
Ta-da.
Could you really explain this part?
Yeah.
Like the consistency of, because this looks great, right? But
I'm going to do transparent white so that I can see if it's going to get me white enough over this cool gray. Okay. Cool gray is not a bright gray.
Yeah.
So what I would normally do when painting white fabric that I don't want to be like this kind of white, that's bold titanium white. That's our setup for what will become our OSL later on.
Yeah.
So I don't want it to be that punchy of a white. But in order to get to a good white still, I want to, or to a good bright fabric, I want to make sure I don't go too bright. I think that bright neutral gray would be a little bit too bright right here.
Yeah.
So I'm going to try just with a little bit bigger brush. I'm going to grab one of my number 5s.
Yeah.
Right. And I'm just going to glaze this over everything. Okay. So treat it like if you were doing a wash, but instead of letting it run thick into the low spots, I just want to put it on everything.
Okay.
Right? So when I put the transparent white on with the brush the first time, I just want to hit everything, even most of the shadow. I might not go completely into the shadows, but I'm okay with it if I do, because it'll let those dark colors show back through.
And how wet is your brush?
Pretty wet.
Pretty wet brush.
Yeah, pretty wet brush. Although you could probably have a little less water on it than I do, because transparent white is the most transparent, the least opaque of any of the transparent colors straight out of the bottle. So you don't have to think of it. I'm just so used to adding a bunch on it. But you can see how much that's brightening it up.
That's,
right?
Yeah.
Super easy.
That's what I was getting at, right? Because I'm always scared to figure out how the transparents work, essentially. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Especially white, because I know that it's got a lot of capabilities.
Well, okay, so yes and no.
Mm-hmm.
It has the capability to do some really amazing things, none of which are going to screw your model up if you don't get it right. Right? The nice thing here is that if this wasn't bright enough for me, I can go back over it, right? Without any problem at all. I'm going to need to do a second coat because I can already tell I like where it's going, but it's not going to get me everywhere I need to be on the first.
It's not going to be white enough,
on the first punch,
Yeah,
right?
Okay.
But I'm using it in the shadows too, so that I don't get too much contrast built up between the bright and the dark. It'll brighten my shadows up a bit, but that's what I'm going for anyway. As I go to white, I don't want the shadows to remain super dark.
Right, because then it's too jarring.
Too much contrast, right? It starts to look like a solid surface. Remember that hard surfaces will form more contrast because the surface itself blocks more light across an edge, whereas the fabric tends to soak light as opposed to reflect light. So you don't get as hard of a shadow necessarily unless it's a really steep fold. The light kind of goes around across a surface. You don't get a really bright contrasty edge anywhere.
Right.
So that's what we're doing here. So just some water on the brush, make sure I don't have too much material. It's when I'm painting my thumb. And then just nice, easy brush strokes to cover everything. Again, just keeping my brush stroke going towards my highlight. My brush is a little bit dry there.
Sure, Russ. Can you give me that white in a heavy body, please?
No. Zinc? I could, yeah. I don't know if we'll do a zinc white because this is such an easy white to work with.
We kind of already have it. It's the transparent white.
Well, that's what transparent white is.
So,
the transparent green is phthalo green, blue is phthalo blue. So you have a lot of the colors that would be kind of your traditional things that you would say, you know what I need in the expert line are these. And I'm like, well, we already make them in the transparent line. They're just already liquid for you, right?
I guess what would be the benefit of it being in an expert acrylic?
The ability to, again, have it in that paste, pure pigment form, I guess. I hate saying pure pigment because all of ours are pure pigment, but a little bit more pigment per volume so that you can treat it, the same thing that all of the paints do better as expert colors is give you a better starting point where you have so much more pigment per brush load to thin down how you like.
Yeah. I have to this is the thing. I just don't have I need to just practice with a lot of this stuff. That's essentially it.
Yeah, stop worrying about it, right?
Yep.
I think that the biggest thing, you say it to people all the time, just put paint on the model.
Yep.
And you got to practice what you preach in this one, especially with the transparent. You got to just pick something, a piece of sprue or a model you're not going to use ever. It doesn't matter
I love
as much
transparent
to you.
brown. Transparent brown for me has been really good. Because I think you did this on the painting white, right? Video where you put it through the airbrush.
Yep. Yeah, we filtered it with the airbrush. Same exact thing, except we're going to get more punch out of it per layer here because we're putting more material on with a brush.
Right.
That's the only real big difference there. And then as it cures, as that first layer is done, I come back and do a second layer. The second layer, I might focus less on the shadows because I'm kind of happy with where the shadows are, and then work just on the highlights so that I get that dust, kind of dusty gray white. Almost like a big, thick, dirty wool blanket feel at this point.
I'm really liking it. I'm really liking this workup. Good tips on painting cloaks.
Same amount of water. Every time I'm doing this, I'm leaving the same amount of water on. I'm not going more opaque. I'm just layering up each layer to feel the same. Makes it really easy. Might take you a few more layers than you feel like doing. But it really helps me gauge where I'm at and not make too big of a jump contrast-wise at any step. I'm kind of liking the way the brighter gray is looking, so I might be able to just kind of stop someplace before it starts to even feel like too bright of a white and be happy with that. We'll see. I like playing.
GC here says, also Bolt Titanium White, which when I was in my discovery phase, always came up as King of White, also confused me at first as I often heard Pro Acryl, but obviously in stores, you're categorized as Monument Hobbies.
Yep.
Yep.
We are Monument Hobbies. That's the manufacturer. Pro Acryl is just the brand. Our brand of paint.
Yep.
We make all sorts of stuff.
Brimed Pork Chop says, does transparent white have the same effect of just lightening up other colors, or is it best on grays? Question mark.
No, it'll lighten up any color. You'll see when I use use it as a base for the OSL on all his plasma gun and backpack and things like that, that we'll use it for a base for other colors.
Do you use it for oxidation too?
You could.
Yeah.
You could. Mm-hmm. Yeah, you can paint it over anything.
Like really thin?
It'll lighten up any color you paint it over.
Yeah.
Sometimes you want to mix it in with other colors. When you're mixing it with the other transparents, it becomes a super powerful tool because you can mix a transparent white with a transparent green and get a transparent jade or a transparent emerald style color. The transparent white and the black are two of the most powerful colors in the transparent set because they give you the ability to mix all the colors together and get 256,000 colors out of transparents. They're all single pigment, so they mix how you want them to. Just really, really powerful tools to be able to tint, tone, and shade your transparents to get them where you want. You can see as I load up more on my thumb is becoming more white. And that's what we're trying to get to, right? Feel like that's kind of the color space I want to be in. So I'm just, again, same light brush stroke, just feather it into the shadow a little bit. By feather, I mean you just lightly touch the brush into the shadows. I'm still doing a textured brush stroke with it. Believe it or not, even the transparent paints will help you build your texture. Even though they don't have the opacity to show every brush stroke, they will show enough to keep your textures in place, which is really good.
Yeah, I'm liking that a lot. Game delay. Can transparent white my legs more white? Make your legs more white? Maybe. Game delay. Leg palette?
I have questions.
Leg palette. Your thigh is just in your thigh is just your palette. It's like, oh.
Get a standing desk. You can solve these problems.
Derp6 says, what paints would you use to make distressed leather, the kind that has sepia tones in it?
Well, things like the nickel azo yellow that we were talking about in the expert line does a great job of that. The brown gray wash is great for that. The petroleum brown wash is great for that. If you want to add the color in more of a filter way. So you can paint, you've seen me paint leather where I paint the textures opaque, with my normal painting style, and then I put the transparent brown over the top later on. You do that with washes and get the kind of distressed coloration. Or you could just mix colors and build them up, but you're going to want, a lot of that kind of yellowish green feel.
Yeah.
So now we're starting to get more towards what I would call a very dirty white cloak.
Yep. It definitely is adding. Roll for Painting Miniatures says, oh, this is a great question. How do you make texture with your brush stroke, with a brush stroke?
Depends on the texture, right? It's all just the way you're touching the model. It's a ludicrously simple thing that we don't think about as much. Like right now, as I'm adding texture, I have to think in terms of what the texture on fabric would want to be. Number one, what direction does it want to go if it has a directionality? See how all of my brush strokes are going laterally across? That's true of every part of this that I'm painting. They keep that lateral feel so they stay in line with, if you were to get the fabric in your hand, you'd see the thread direction. So for things like fabric, you want to pick a direction that the thread is going to go. And I always suggest on fabric doing laterally, like side to side, rather than trying to do up and down, because on this cloak, it would be insane to try to paint a bunch of lines up and down along the length of it because it's so long. And then it's just, using the tip of the brush, gaining brush control to the point where you can use the tip of the brush to just kind of keep it. You want to punch in really close.
Yeah.
You'll see that all of my brush strokes are just very thin lines.
Yeah.
And so what I create now is the feel of that threading on the cloak. I'm not painting anything else like that, right? I don't want that same texture in the gold. So I'm not painting with those same short, abrupt brush strokes in the gold necessarily. I'm only doing it on the fabric. Now, if I wanted this to look like wool, I would do something more like stippling. Not more like, but I would stipple. Right? So I would create a situation where I go in and I paint most of my textures like this, whether it's a real fast, blunt hit on the fabric, right, or on the model, so that I get this buildup of color that I just keep working around in like semicircles or ellipses or in random patterns to where I just create a bunch of dots of color. You do your base coat solid, and then from your base coat up, you start to apply texture this way. And all of a sudden, by the time you get to your highlight, you have a bunch of dots that are so nested close together that you can already see that it gives it a totally different texture than a line. Right here we have hatching with long lines versus dots. So this would give you a softer feel, something like wool, piled cotton, something like that. This would give you even scales. If you're doing scaly skin, you can kind of see how right now my dots are kind of, as they dry, are making it look like there's scale if you look at the negative space in between the dots. So you can create stuff like that. Whereas the lines give you rough leather, rough fabric, things that have lots of scratches, rough armor, things of that nature, bark and wood, anything that can have scratch marks from running into things or people climbing it or whatever. So those are the two easy ones, right? And then, of course, you can create textures by specific, painting styles, too. Like you could, build in a texture or a pattern if you wanted to. Sponge painting does that. Creates a texture. We use that a lot for applying scratches to tanks and such, because it can give a really good random effect.
That's great. Great question.
When we talk about brush control, you'll always hear this in painting, and people will say it and never tell you what it means. Brush control is the ability to think about what you're about to paint, right?
Mm-hmm.
Make an assumption on how what you're about to create would look, in kind of in the real world.
Yeah.
And then be able to make your brush move in a way that you apply the paint to give the feeling of that look. So, right, if you want a smooth blend, then your brush control is making sure you don't do big heavy swipes that leave a definition of your brush stroke, because that will inherently not make it smooth. So you need to be able to control your brush in smaller areas to blend the color, to feather it out, much lighter touch, so as you get to the end, you don't press really hard and get a line. I liken it to calligraphy. I know probably nobody's done calligraphy, but when doing things like calligraphy, you have to take into account the pressure of your touch, because it goes directly to the thickness of the line you create, right? And so you need to always be in control of your line weight. This is the same if you're inking a drawing or whatever. You got to be able to control things like pressure. But it always goes back to, mimicking this look that you want. Like in my case, I just want these thin lines to give the impression that there's, maybe, I don't want it to look threadbare. I don't want it to look like it would tear. But it's a heavy fabric. And so I just repeat these lines. I'm not caring if the line is right over the last one, right? You can, but for me, that's not important. The lines themselves, especially when using transparent paint like I'm using right now, the lines will continue to show layer to layer. So I'm less concerned with, making my last line go right over the first line. You might have a time where if you're painting racing stripes or something, that's very important. Mm-hmm. But in texturing, usually not so much. The layering of textures gives it a depth. So if I were doing that beat up leather, I start my texturing with my first color after my base color. So if I paint a dark brown for the base of my leather, then my next lighter brown, which is still dark, I start texturing. Even though when it dries, you don't see it very much, because you do that every layer, and by the time you get to your highlight color where the texture is very visible, it brings the eye to the texture, and then you see the texture in all those layers underneath it, and it makes it look like some cuts are deeper than others, right? And some are just minor surface scratches. And you get a feeling of reality or semi-realism without having to try very hard. Just remember to texture everything, not just the last layer. A lot of people will try to just apply a texture at the end, and it looks like graphics. It looks like you did pinstriping or just painted it on. making sure that the texture is there from as close to the first color you put on as you can is part of selling it.
Yeah. That was great. That was a great bit. Yes, we do. We have a short on, somebody's asking on painted leather. We do have a short on that. Also,
Jordan did a really good short on that.
Yep, we did a short. Here is this one. It's actually not too long ago either. There you go. Plus, you can also watch our transparent video. That will also give you a great example of leather. Plus, we also did a dry brushing video about leather too.
This model is a great example of what I'm about to talk to or speak to, which is making sure that you have multiple types of texture on a model that has multiple types of material. Space Marines are notorious for just being a lot of armor and a gun.
Yeah.
Right? Maybe a bare-headed sergeant that has some skin. Right? But by and large, Space Marines are not necessarily the place where you get to play with texture a lot. Now, captains with cloaks and praetors and things like this are really fun because we get more material on the model in terms of fabric and whatever else, some leather maybe, that lets you play around with texture more. And if you have that, it's imperative, especially on something as kind of milquetoast as a Space Marine, and I don't mean that in a negative way, I just mean that they're armored dudes. Painting a knight standing with a sword is not exactly the most amazing texture experience because he's metal, and metal. But removing that from the equation and saying, okay, well, he has a cloak, so if I do it and I exaggerate my texture a little bit, it's going to offset the smoothness of everything else that I've done here, which is all my hard surfaces, my armor I've done with smoother blends, the airbrush obviously on the red. It makes it look like we just, dipped it in red. It doesn't have any texture to it, right? But then you put that up next to something like the cloak, and as long as you manage your colors and you get your fades done well in your texture, then you wind up making it really feel like they are made of different things. It's not all the same hard plastic at the end of the day. And those little nuances can be the difference when you're really trying to push your model a little bit further each time. You're trying to get to something that makes you feel a little bit better about the work you've spent. Texture, and which is part of your whole experience with contrast and volume, is one of the best ways to do that. That's why we invented the texture trainers, right? So that you could play around with different materials on a single model and see how, doing so can create a neat feeling that you don't get from just painting everything with the same brushstroke.
Mm-hmm.
Because as humans, we just get used to, I use the same brushstroke. Everything gets the same texture. Metal, fabric, leather, everything. I just paint it all the same way because I'm not even thinking about it. I'm just putting paint on the model. And that's great. But learning a little bit of texture helps go a long way. I really like that.
Yeah. That looks great.
It could probably go a bit brighter. It's still a little dull, but I like it. I like the gray of it rather than it being a pure white.
I think that's a good, I don't want to say stopping point on it, but it looks good from here.
I think I am going to leave it there until we get the silver stuff done or the steel stuff done.
Because it might darken it up.
Yeah, and I got to think about what I'm going to do on the underside of it too. Probably a purple. Let me do that right now. You know what we'll do? We'll do dark plum. Because that was our mid-tone on our reds.
Rolling
the
for
book
painted
writes
miniatures.
itself, chat.
I'm learning so much. Yeah, that's the that's why we do this.
Yeah, you'll see now one of the things that I do a lot when we're doing shadow colors, everybody laughs because I use dark purple for a lot of my shadows, Payne's gray for a lot of my shadows.
Dark plum?
Yeah, I'll just use dark plum because dark plum's already on the model. It was our mid-tone for our reds. You'd never know it because it's not a color that you just jumps out at you, right? This is dark plum. You're not seeing it on the model as a color that's very upfront and in your face, but it is the mid-tone color that comes Payne's gray, then dark plum. So it's already part of what is on the overspray of the underside of this cloak. So if I paint it on the cloak...
Oh, right, yeah.
Notice how immediately it doesn't look out of place. Right. It's a good cheat because it allows me to take that overspray and have it feel like it was meant to be there. Especially on something like this, it's a little hard to reach.
Oh, yeah, but that really ties
it in. But it gives me a good color that, while not being my red, sits in perfectly with the red because it's the mid-tone for what I already have.
Right. Ties it in really nicely.
Yeah, and then literally it is a cheat because I don't even have to worry about the shadows. The shadows are already Payne's Gray and Dark Plum.
It is kind of a cheat, huh?
Yeah, oh, it's perfect. So whenever you see me doing these colors as shadows, it lets you do things like this, which is have a baked-in color that could be an accent color, right? Doing Payne's Gray as the base for my steel now makes sense. All of this is Payne's Gray, all these dark bits that look gray. Yeah. Those are that blue-gray that is the shadow color on the model. Now I work them up to steel using pale yellow or white blue, but they start off with the same base color that the whole model does and ties it all together. As opposed to if I paint the model red with dark red, middle red, bright red, and then I paint the cloak with dark gray, middle gray, bright gray, and then I paint the steel bits with dark blue, middle blue, bright blue, and my gold with, dark orange, or dark yellow, mid yellow, bright yellow. Every color you've painted on the model starts from a different base, and that's part of what I call the factor. And the factor is where you look at your model, you've done a great job, but it just is missing something. What is the part that it's missing? It has nothing that ties it all together. And it's the subtlest things like those colors at the base, the shadow colors that tie things back that you don't realize. And a lot of us do that. A lot of us start with basing the boots brown, base the pants blue, base the shirt green, and you start with a block of color that you know. It's better to paint the whole model dark purple first, and then put your blue and your brown and your green over the purple and let a little bit of the purple stay in the shadow because it pulls the whole model together. Whatever the color is. I like purple. I like turtles.
Polajov says, like the cloak there as well. I've been bit by the heresy bug myself lately, and the black armor video has been wonderful.
Awesome.
Is there any advice on how you'd go for checkered board patterns? Ooh, do you start with like the white or the black? What do you start with on the checkered board? I'm assuming I'm going straight to the just white and black checkerboard style, right?
Yeah. That's always a difficult one because it's going to be largely what you think works for you. I know I hate saying it's like a cop-out way to say it.
Yeah.
But it really is the truth when painting patterns. Either way, when doing a checkerboard, the big concern is that some of your squares have to be larger than others. We've shown this a lot of times. It's what throws everybody with their checkerboard stuff off. And let me show you what I mean by this. Give me just a second to do the trim here. Or the hem. I don't know what this is called. The bottom.
The hem. I think it's the hem. I believe
it is the hem.
On a cloak, I think it's called that too.
Like dress, skirt, pants, hem, cuff. I don't know. Whatever. Okay, so I'll just do it in dark plum. Right?
Do you have a texture trainer?
No, I'm just going to paint on my hand. Because what I'm going to show you is just to, whenever you're painting checkerboard, the first thing that most people do is they do this.
Oh, right.
Right? The problem with this tends to be that when you paint in the inside of this one black, right, or dark, it's now become larger than the white squares because it extends all the way to the outside of this line. Does that make sense? Look at how narrow the white square is versus all the black squares. So you have to be very careful when painting this way to not do too thick of a line for your checkerboard grid when you're painting it. Doesn't matter which ones you paint first. I tend to think that one of the easiest ways to do this is to paint the whole surface bright white and get your white right, and then just have a very steady, patient hand and do all of your checkers on top of that.
Do little squares.
But look at how small that white square is compared to the black ones. This is where most people mess up when doing it. So when I did the stuff on this guy, right, we explored doing it on Gazgul, and I showed you that I painted every square individually.
Right.
I painted every square individually so that they were all the same size. That's a little maniacal. You can just paint thinner lines in between. The white squares will always be a little narrower. You just want to make sure it isn't impactful to the point where you can tell.
Yeah.
Right? Because, like I said, if you do thick lines, remember that the thickness of your line is going to get added to the dimension of your dark squares. Right? So the thicker the line, the bigger the dark squares become. And look at that. Look how small the white box looks compared to the black boxes, or the plum boxes. Right? And so you just have to care. If you don't care about that, that looks good to you, then just paint it that way. But I would say get good at doing very hair-thin lines to put your grid on the model.
Yeah.
And then when you paint the black, they're only a very small smidge bigger than the white ones.
GC here, thank you so much for those gifted subs, 5 of them. We appreciate that. That was a great way of explaining that, yeah, because I'm like, you definitely could see how smaller that thing was, though.
Yeah, the thickness of the line is it adds dimension and subtracts dimension from the color opposite of the color you've done the lines in. So if you painted the whole thing black and then did your lines in white, the white squares will be bigger.
Yeah.
Because it's whatever color you painted the grid in, right?
Yeah.
So some people will do it with a pencil. They'll pencil it on there so that then they're painting over the graphite. They're not using it as a color. And then you're really just painting each square individually, and then you're more in control of the size of the line. For me, I just go in like on Gazgo, we literally just didn't make a grid at all. I just painted a bunch of squares.
Yeah.
Now, somebody was asking, don't you have to consider where it is? I don't know what that means. You have to consider the shape you're painting it on.
That's a great model.
Right? Like if it's on a sphere or something, you have to consider, where it is. But I don't know if you have to consider much other than that. Trying to keep a square to be square on a sphere is a pain in the butt, if that's what you're talking about. But doing the grid is the same. You just have to make sure as you pull the line, it stays straight. Like if you were to flatten the thing out, would the line be straight or would the line be curved? That's always a geometric mind screw for people when they're doing, straight lines on curved surfaces. But generally, if you get it close, the brain will understand what's going on. The squares may become more diamonds on a sphere when you look at them visually. So you might, get it on there and then tighten it up. But
Philip did get a one of those gifted subs from GC.
What?
Philip did.
No free pub.
Rascal. That Gazgul is a fun model. He's cool.
He really is.
He's a really cool
It's
model.
A great model.
He's just cool.
The fact that they brought that out as like this hulking behemoth when he was always just a little bitty thing.
Yeah.
Well, he's gone through multiple iterations. He was a little bitty thing. Then he got to be this big chunky defend your house by putting him in a sock metal model that had horns coming out of the Terminator armor kind of thing. And then they just made it this, which is, I think he's literally just a head and half a body. Like he got his head lopped off.
Yeah.
And the Big Mech bolted him back together Frankenstein style.
Yeah, it's cool. I really like him.
All these squares make a circle. Yes. No. Wait. What?
Hazard stripes. Any tips for hazard stripes?
Again, I like painting the whole thing yellow and then painting the black over the top. If you're doing anything that's a bright color, dark color contrast, painting the bright color first is going to be a lot easier so that you don't have to try to nestle a bright color into a finite space and deal with brush strokes. You can spend your time like airbrushing it or painting the larger surface like a Power Fist or something like that with hazard stripes, and then come back and do the black over the top.
I just linked you the thing that he's about to. Oh well, something different. That VOD he did on his old hammer too.
Right.
Yep.
So this was all painted yellow, and then the black stripes over the top of it, and it just then you're literally just doing very easy opaque dark lines. The thing that I'll tell you is remember to not highlight the lines of the paint. Highlight the model where it's painted. One of the biggest problems I see when people paint hazard stripes and checkerboards and all that is that they highlight each of the squares. They're not engraved. It's painted on. Unless you want it to look engraved or embossed. If you highlight these lines, if I were to go back and highlight each yellow line, right, then it makes it look like they're an individual thing, a component that rises up off the surface, and that's not the case. This is all flat. So you want to paint them all on there and then highlight across the top like I've done here, where I've highlighted brighter yellow across this area and brighter gray across the top so that it all highlights with the shape of the model. The lines don't highlight. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
The model shape highlights. The lines are just graphics, right? So be careful with that. Don't highlight the squares and the lines and all that stuff. I see a lot of people do that, and it looks so wrong. It drives me bananas. I don't know if it drives anybody else bananas, but it drives me bananas.
Bananas drives me bananas.
Bananas.
Wow. A lot of gold there, folks. If you're just now tuning in, welcome.
Hello.
We're so glad you're here. We're doing some non-metallic metals, some cloakage.
Hello.
We're doing all the bits today.
All right, now we're going to go into steel.
You're going into steel?
Steel.
What are you stealing?
It's everything.
I don't like it.
Huzzah. We're going to use pale yellow.
You use pale yellow?
Yeah, pale yellow.
For steel?
Yeah.
Why would you use pale yellow?
Pale yellow.
Madness.
Because it's what the Lone Ranger would have done.
The Lone Ranger? Or the Rifleman?
The Rifleman.
Chuck Connors.
Chuck Connors.
You want to know
love that show.
You want to know what's funny?
I love that show.
When I moved.
Such a great show. Because didn't he have a kid and the mom had passed away? Yep. So it was just him and the kid?
When I moved to California, I was sleeping on my 96-year-old grandfather's couch.
Yeah, I remember you telling me.
And he would wake up at 3 a.m.
to watch The Rifleman
and turn it on while I was sleeping.
Sure.
He didn't give a crap that I was sleeping. And he would turn that thing on full blast.
Oh, yeah.
And it'd be like, The Rifleman. And I'm like, it's 4 a.m.
All right, so yeah, we're using pale yellow and Payne's gray. So pull the pale yellow into the Payne's gray to make just a little bit lighter version of the Payne's gray. And this will be the first thing that we highlight everything with. More big chonky style highlights than anything. We're sketching again at this point. This doesn't, now some of this will have to be detailed because I'm painting like a damn chain here, but which I forgot to paint the little banner underneath the chain, so I need to do that before I go too far with this chain on his chest. Because I will know I'll mess the chain up by painting the thing that's underneath it.
What's up, Chuck?
Hey,
Jade.
It's that stuff that happens when you get sick.
That's right.
Chuck, are you guys at Gen Con?
Yeah, I was just about to say, Jade says, sorry, super tired over here. Jade, haha, bananas because it was an ape. Yes, Jade, that's right.
Huh.
You guys over at Gen Con? Did you give the team hell? Did you take a picture with them? Did you get your something?
I can't remember. Were they going to Gen Con? Were you guys going?
Know. Let's see. I'm bummed I'm not going. Yeah. It's a big show.
I don't know. It's not my favorite.
It's a big show, and I'm not necessarily for just the hobby. I mean, it's just a
That's
big
the problem.
Nerd
it's like
show.
going to like freaking Disneyland.
Yeah.
It drives me bonkers.
Adepticon obviously is primarily the hobby, but Gen Con is just everything.
It's too much.
Chuck says we're at Gen Cant this year. Oh.
Well, shucks.
But that's usually our big trip, but we opt to sub it for the trip to AZ this year.
Awesome.
Nice. Move here. Find work here. Move here. Lord Xavier just said, I just wanted to say I got my monumenthobbies.eu order today and everything went smooth.
Awesome.
Going to have a nice weekend. No distract painting. Mally, Allie, we win.
Thank you for helping support our new endeavor over there.
That's huge. I love that. Thank you for sharing. It's okay. It's okay, Chuck. It's not 1 billion degrees. It's really not that bad. We got a couple months, and when I say a couple, I mean 6 of them out of the year where it's typically hot, but that's okay. Swimming pools make the most sense here in America. Just gonna say it.
Swimming pools make the most sense to have in Arizona?
100%.
Oh.
Just because
I feel like they're like lukewarm tub water most
well,
of the year.
I meant like instead of like in a very humid place, right?
Yeah.
Here it like they can just cool you off. If it's not too hot. Now, if it's really hot, then everything is pointless at that point.
Yeah, there is a stage where even the swimming pool is against you.
Yes.
You get into it, and it's like, wow, tepid water.
Yeah.
It's like, where are the alligators?
Yes. Yes, well, the summer sun is coming to kill us, Jade.
It's already here. What are you talking about coming?
That's fun. Little Billy says, I tried mixing some colors from a different brand with Pro Acryl
to make a unique base coat. Then I realized I just made dark plum. Another brand, Little Billy, you're fired.
Traitor.
You are banned. Little Billy, what do you mean? My heart breaketh.
It's the big one.
It's the big one. This is why I need to complete. That's right, Little Billy. Other paint brands work really well for door jams. You can just jam them in there. They stop your door from moving. No, I'm just kidding. Paint with whatever you want, but give us a try. And especially you, Little Billy. If I haven't given you enough attention now to not have a full set of Pro Acryl, I don't know what the heck you're doing out there.
He's buying your love, Little Billy.
Little Billy, get all the Pro Acryl. You guys already have all the colors. That's right. You can too. Haha, it's my leftovers before discovering you guys. Oh, well, that's what they all say. That's what they all say. Well, I had this paint before you guys. I don't like it.
We are the official paint company
That's true.
Of gifting old paints to friends. When
That's
people
right.
get Pro Acryl, their old collections go to all their buddies or family members that were trying to get in or donated to schools.
That's right.
Good problem to have.
I'm doing it, but my wallet says no. Well, tell your wallet to shut up, Little Billy.
You just keep painting with what you got, Little Billy. Don't listen to Chris at all.
Don't listen to Chris. The only Pro Acryl everyone has to have is green and light yellow green. If you know, you know. That's right, Little Nibling. That makes a really good goblin green base.
Hey, whoa.
Whoa.
I'm not going to allow that on my watch.
No more of this joking. Wad says I'm moving closer to Jade and Chuck. Nice.
Really?
By about 5 minutes. Moving closer by about 5 minutes. Are you living 5 minutes away from them or just moving 5 minutes closer to them?
I want to know, because you know what would make this super funny?
What's that?
Is if he lives like 1,000 miles away.
He's just 5 minutes closer.
And now I'm 5 minutes closer to you guys.
That's actually a hilarious way to put that.
Hey, we're moving our office 5 minutes further away from you guys. No offense.
That's hilarious.
No offense, but that's just the way it's happening.
That is awesome.
That's pretty funny, actually. I love it. Thread the needle here.
I love my cat XO says Vince Ventrella sent me here. Nice. We love Vincey V.
Good.
Good.
Vince is amazing, people.
Yep.
Vince is a true lover of hobby. I have met very few people in my life who are super excited about hobby for the sake of hobby.
Yeah.
You know? It's not a political business, you know. He does an amazing video thing, but
he does, and he does a lot of content.
He does a lot of content. Puts a lot of love into it for the right reasons. Love me some Vincey V.
Yeah. If you haven't checked him out, give him a watch.
I always tell him when we get a chance to talk, I'm like, you know, we need
get him out here.
I need some Vince time.
Get him out
isn't here. At a freaking convention. All my Vince time is at conventions, and it always feels like transactional. It always feels like, oh, I gotta fit it into this hour and blah 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 blah.
Tell him to come out here.
Well, we have. We got to come up with a good plan.
Oh, we'll plan it. Tell him we're going to have 2 12-hour shoot days. And
That's not a good plan.
And we're going to record.
I'm going to ruin it for you, Chris.
We're going to record 12 hours each day. And we're going to have 24 episodes done. There you go.
So, I don't know if you understand salesmanship very well. But...
Vince will do it. Vince would be the one to do it. I believe that in my heart.
You're probably not wrong.
You know?
You're probably not wrong. He does have a life, though.
He does.
He has a significant other. He's got dogs.
But I don't have to do it for 2 days. That would be fun. Talking the hobby. Kidnapping is a good plan, says Paint Liquor. No, it's not.
We do not kidnap our friends.
Yes, we've had guests come on here, Soulfrish. We've talked about that more too. We're gonna get Mally. He's in our EU office. We're gonna get him on here too.
We're going to find a way to promote the stream as having a European schedule for a couple of days of the month. That's going to be forthcoming as Chris works with Mally to get his studio set up.
Yep.
Mally's got a painting studio, obviously. He's been a commission painter for eons.
I was checking out all of his stuff the other night. It was awesome.
Mally's a great painter. He gets it. Good teacher, too.
Yeah. I'll have to, we'll...
Oh, that's not what that's supposed to be.
You might just have to turn up this week. Yeah, you know what? That's it. He'll come out here to us. We'll do something fun. Colin says, I was shopping in the EU shop and couldn't find an emerald green. Any help? Jade is a similar or green oxide, but not quite. I'm doubting about burnt red and red oxide for my Zorn palette. Emerald green.
So we have dark emerald. Gesundheit. Dark emerald, and then adding in, white or pale yellow or pale green. Probably pale yellow is better. Pale green will get it too green. Works great.
24-hour stream for science.
Never.
Chris should do a 24-hour stream for science. Only if Jason lets me.
What?
Only if Jason lets me.
When did this become my not letting you?
Yeah. I think it's Jason.
What? How did I become the bad guy here? What have I ever done?
24 hours is a long time, Nibling.
It's more than just a long time. It's a beat down.
Yeah, I can imagine.
It's a beat down. Insanity is the only thing that can drive us to doing such a thing. Chris is dying.
I'm here. Well, does Chris get overtime or not? Little Billy, I live here. I don't know what you're talking about.
He sleeps on the couch in the public area.
I know of a place. No, we're not going to do that. One of these days, maybe. I'll get everybody to... We'll have cycles, though. We'll have to have a night crew for sure.
We'll have to have somebody that brings us food.
Yeah. Well, then Jason can go sleep, or... I'm staying up for 24 hours.
I feel like we've talked about this.
It'd be tough. Realistically, that's a lot.
It never has a good outcome.
No, everybody's tired. Everybody's exhausted. The sleepy ha-has would be so fierce. This is too much. What are we getting from it? What are we getting from it?
Sick.
Avian says, 100 bits, an actual tune from Chris? Hey, whoa. Philip says, I will do it. Philip will do it for an hour and be like, you know what? Screw this.
Oh,
I'm out of here.
Sorry, man.
We'll all be that way.
Go check the house, man. Gotta go check on the house.
For all of you who know, Philip has been building a house from the ground up. Started with the foundation and has been building a house.
He has to grow his own trees for the wood.
Philip has literally been chopping down trees to build this house. Philip says, nope, I can do it. GC here says, you guys ever been invited to Warhammer HQ in Nottingham or just visited? ?
I worked for GW in management for the better part of 5 years.
You went to Nottingham, yeah?
A lot, yeah. Yep. I went for all of the quarterly meetings. I was part of the U.S. business, obviously, and had been quite a bit, but it was the old building with the old original Bugman's Bar and stuff like that. The new building is not, I don't know anything about it. I have not been over to the new Warhammer World or any of that. But I have lots and lots of fond memories from the old one.
I had to quarry my own granite for the counters. Philip is building a house. Philip doesn't have time to do a 24-hour stream because he's building a house.
From scratch. Like Bucky Beaver, he's chewing logs out with his teeth.
Philip will do it. Philip will do it with us. And by us, I mean just Philip.
But no, I don't. You know, we have a good relationship with GW. Other than the time where their attorneys thought we owned a website we didn't own.
Like, whoa, wait a minute.
There was a.
They make great models, hands down. It's not a secret. They make cool stuff.
Our one of our customers, unbeknownst to us, bought a domain. So it turns out, I think it's one of his pastimes is he buys domains to piss off GW.
What an interesting pastime.
Yeah, he just buys domains, and this one was like, I don't know, Painting Warhammer or something, or warhammerpainting.com.
No. Warhammer Paint.
Warhammerpaint.com.
Not
painting.
Warhammer Paint.
Warhammerpaint.com.
Right? I think that's what it was.
Maybe, I don't remember. I don't remember. But he bought this, you're going to see exactly where this is going, by the way. And he pointed the domain to our website. It was insane.
That's silly.
We didn't know it. I don't go Googling that. And one day we got a notice from GW's legal team.
They're like, hey.
Saying, you need to cease and desist and pass ownership of this to us. And I wrote him back saying, would love to. Don't own it. Don't know anybody that does. And then I got smart with them because they were being idiots. It was just some legal firm, right? It wasn't GW. Some legal firm they hired to do their dirty work. And they were short with me via email. You know, the mechanism of communication where you can't tell anybody's emotion.
Yeah.
And they were kind of standoffish with me on email. And I said, well, here, let me introduce you to a tool called Whois. The Whois lookup tool, and I wrote the definition from Wiki. I copied the definition of Whois from Wiki and put it in the letter back to GW, and I said, it's a great usable tool where you can find out who owns just about any website. And then I said, with a simple search, I found that this person, and I pasted the thing from Whois, owns the website in question. This person has nothing to do with us. Please call them.
Have a nice day.
And then we didn't hear from them for months, and then they sent another letter.
And then
from another person saying the exact same thing. We need you to cease and desist and turn over the ownership of this website to us immediately. And I'm like, let me do this again. And so I did it again. I took the old old email, or the old email that I had sent, and I just forwarded it to him again. I said, as stated, I did that thing from the meme. As stated in my last email, this might help.
Weedan says, question, what do you do? Want to do a non-metallic golden, very ornamented armor. Recipe of tons of colors, question mark? No better place to ask for it.
Very ornamented gold? I mean, do you like this?
That's pretty good. Ornamented.
This is easy. This was the dark yellow green, orange yellow, into bright pale yellow. Super simple. Actually, I missed a color in there. What was my color that I missed?
Which one?
What did I miss? Bright yellow ochre.
Bright yellow ochre.
Into bright pale yellow.
Natalie says, did the guy ever apologize for you for getting letters, question mark?
Getting letters? What do you mean?
Yeah.
Oh, the guy who owned the website?
Yeah.
I mean, I wouldn't expect him to.
He probably thought it was funny.
Yeah, we found out later that was kind of literally like something that he just does. He just trolls them.
So can you, for people just coming in, can you explain kind of this dark or this steel workup, your traditional steel workup here?
Yeah, this is Payne's Gray, a base of Payne's Gray, which is just a nice dark blackish blue. Then I mix in a bright color to it. In this case, I'm using pale yellow. Pale yellow is a good tint color, meaning that it'll brighten the color you mix it with up. But as a yellow, it will keep the blue from getting too pastel. White will turn the blue into, which I like as a steel. That's kind of the way we did all of this, right? This armor was done with pale gray, Payne's Gray into white blue. You'll see me do that a lot for things like swords, right? So, like here, again.
Yep.
Right? This might have been pale yellow, actually, because I use so much of the white blue on his fur. So, it really just depends. But something like a white blue or a pale yellow to go into the dark bluish color will give you that nice first progressive highlight or midtone. And then I'll just keep adding that color in until I get to my jump for metallic, right? So if I'm doing non-metallic like this, then the goal is to work this color until I get to that point where I have to make a jump for shine. And then the shine, it depends on what I'm liking and disliking about the color as to whether or not I stick with something like pale yellow, or I might jump to, a bright neutral gray. And not stick with a pale yellow. Just depends. I've chosen pale yellow on this one because I think it works the blue better into the red that I already have defined.
Chuck says, "Oh, in today's episode of Adventures in Machine Shop, I had the opportunity to spend $80,000 of my boss's money. It felt great." Nice. Now, if we could only convince Jason to buy an Ari Alexa Mini for the company, we could do the same thing here.
Oh, what?
It's a really fancy camera setup.
Oh my god.
And so we could make Monument Hobbies the production company.
So, no.
We're going to get into the
and then no.
The camera rental house business here in Phoenix, Arizona. Didn't Chris drop $80K on Christmas in July? No, that was all fabricated. All that Christmas stuff was from my house.
I haven't gotten the bill yet, so.
Philip says, "Jason, can I spend $80K of Monument's money? I have a really good idea. Wait for it. Trains. Let's get a train."
Just trains.
Do you guys like how I just put this up to my mouth here and it was the wrong end?
Just that's trains.
When do we get a Monument Hobbies the flamethrower? The flamethrower. The kids love this one. Never, Wad. Never.
Just trains?
Just trains. That's what Philip says. Trains. He gets a
wait for it.
He gets a gifted sub, and he's all about trains now. That's how Philip is right now. 24-hour stream.
Hear me out. Trains. Now, before you say no, I have a whole presentation. I have a whole PowerPoint. I'm appalled.
The T Terra says, when we were talking about paints the other day, you guys said that you mostly use a dry palette. Yes, he uses a glass palette. In theory, the inside of the lid of my army painter wet palette would suffice, right?
Yeah.
I would probably use a plate over using that. A ceramic
the inside plastic, I've done that. It's fine. It's a little harder to clean, as you can imagine.
A ceramic tile from like a hardware store also works.
Yeah, works pretty well. Definitely can. Chris, you okay over there? Getting sick? Better not get me sick before I have to go get on an airplane. You'll be hearing from me, boy.
Oh, boy.
My guy, hard to clean. Yeah. Yeesh. We don't, yeah, that's a lot of materials there, T-terrorist.
Right, so just a little bit more of the pale yellow into the blue.
Yeah.
And again, I'm not really doing anything specific here. As I go brighter, I have to make sure my placement of color matches my light direction a little bit more. And I don't want to use too much of the brighter colors, or I start to overwhelm it and lose what will become the dark part of the contrast that makes the shine work.
Right.
So I'll start with this color to do just more outlining. And this is just repetition. Now we're at the point where it's like, okay, then do it again with a little bit more pale yellow. And you just go until you're ready to make the jump. I'll be ready to make the jump after this next step, I think. Or after this step, I'll probably just jump to whatever I decide my highlight color needs to be.
No, T-terrorist, you could just use the lid. That would work. You could also just let it sit in some dish soap water, and it would probably come right off too.
Yeah, because you're basically painting plastic onto plastic, sometimes it's tough to get off. The glass is a surface that the acrylic never truly adheres to.
Yeah.
So that's why I like the glass, because, we sit here for months without cleaning it. Well, not anymore. Chris does a hell of a job cleaning it now.
We got a couple on rotation here.
But we have 2 pallets. But before that, there'd be months where it sat here before we cleaned it, and it'll still come off after soaking it for a day. Whereas the plastic, probably not. Silicone pads, you can get like, they make those silicone placemats. I've seen people use those.
Yep, silicone. Yep.
Like the ones they use for putting under your dog's water bowl and stuff.
Mm-hmm. Nibling says, does that make Chris a palate cleanser?
Yes. That's great.
Oh, that's sillier than expected.
That's great, actually. Love it.
That's funny. Northrax says, been playing with a glass palette, and I use a thin metal scraper thingy that came with my 3D printer to remove the paint. Interesting.
Yeah, I can see that. The deal that you pop the prints off the platen with, or whatever the thing is called.
Esphys says, where do you see 2D painting or traditional arts as helpful to improve your mini painting? Like helpful to learn, not helpful, indifferent, ? 2D painting.
Use of color and light is always going to be something that strengthens your ability to paint anything. And so as you learn to paint like 2D, whether it's a canvas or just a drawing or watercolor or whatever, is always going to give you tools that you'll use in 3D painting as well.
Yeah.
It may not always seem like what you're doing in 2D will translate, because a lot of 2D painting is creating the volumes. You're having to create the shapes, whereas the 3D volumes already exist, and you're having to refine them and make it look like they're actually lit, right? I say that in painting miniatures, the biggest thing we're trying to do is fool people that there's another light on this model. This model's in another world, and you're painting a photo of that world and that, story, as opposed to the model being underneath the fluorescent lights in the office you're showing it to the person in, right?
Yeah.
If that makes sense.
Uh-huh.
And so that's the big focus. But both things teach you that, because you have to know more in the 2D world than the 3D world to pull it off, because you have to create the shape. Right? You start with nothing and build it up to something. Whereas here, you start with someone else's something and put color on it. And the goal is that at the end of the day, you keep those shapes looking three-dimensional, and how they would look in a light source of your choosing, because the sculpt doesn't have a light source. But yeah, learning and practicing things that you will find in the world of 2D art is tremendous for your 3D painting.
It says weirdly learning about digital 3D modeling and texture has also improved both disciplines for me as well.
Yep, I see that. Again, you're having to create those shapes, right?
For all of you over at Gen Con in Indianapolis, go say hi to the team. Bring them a painted mini.
That's right.
Painted with Pro Acryl.
You get yourself some wizard's butt.
Get yourself some wizard's butt.
Or so we've heard.
Or so we've heard. We don't know. We're not there.
I'll be there tomorrow.
Hardigan says, first time chat. Hey, how you doing? Newbie question. In which case do you use a white primer layer paint or a black primer layer paint? Ooh. That's a great question.
So my preference is to always use black.
Yeah.
I use black primer on just about everything unless I'm specifically teaching how to paint from, light to dark. I am a firm believer that your best experience comes from painting dark to light. So I tend to want my foundation layer to be black. And then I paint to brighter and brighter colors as I scale towards my light source.
Yeah.
It prevents me from having to paint shadows on a model, which I hate.
You don't like painting shadows?
Well, not from zero.
Not from zero, right?
Having the shadow already baked onto the model because the whole model's black makes a lot better sense to me. And then I put my first base layer on there, and I can make that base layer as opaque or translucent as I want and let more or less of that black show through to make my shadow work the right way.
Yeah.
And that tends to be what really feels the best for me. White base coats arguably will give you more vibrant colors quicker. So if you're painting, say, Marvel Crisis Protocol,
yeah,
and you want very bright comic book vibrant colors on Iron Man right out of the gates, you don't want to have to fight to get that yellow to be bright or that red to be bright, then there's a world where, a white base coat can be what makes that very easy. But again, you're finding yourself having to put the shadows on the model. So you're going to have to spend time doing that. Whereas had you painted it black, an extra layer or so of red or yellow isn't that big of a deal. And the shadows are already on the model where you want them. But we said this yesterday. I think somebody asked the same question yesterday, and it really is just, what do you like? What feels comfortable to you?
What's your preference?
Yeah, what feels comfortable to you and what helps you get the model done in a manner that you're happy with is how you should paint it.
I've never painted the shadows back in. I always start dark and then work it up.
Yeah.
I've never done it the other way. It just doesn't compute for me.
It takes you having to look at the model completely differently.
Yeah, definitely.
All right.
That's looking mighty bright. Or brighter.
Well, it's funny, right? Because we say that, and you know how this works, is that then we put the top layer of brightness on it, and all of a sudden this looks super dark. But yeah, as we brighten it up, I'm just kind of very quick, wispy brushstrokes, as you can see. Again, no rhyme or reason other than I want to look at the shape. Most of this is all cylinders, so I just want to highlight the cylinder correctly, get a little bit edge highlighting on there where I can. But I'm not spending any time thinking about this. These colors won't be super visible as to how messy I'm doing this once we're done.
Yeah. Bud says, if I only could stay in the lines as well as Jason.
Heck, I just said I'm not even staying in the lines. I don't even recognize there are lines right now. You know, I've like punch in real close. I want you to look at that, bud.
I'm gonna really punch into this and then refocus it.
I'm just smacking the brush against the surface of the model.
Yeah.
There is nothing happening here that is either smooth nor focused, really. Maybe a little focused, but you know, it's like taking this cylinder and going like this, going brrr, just the side of the brush, meep, 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 like that.
Yeah.
It's there's not a lot going on. This stage can be sketchy, and it's okay. Don't get so caught up in your painting that you think every single time you touch the model with the brush has to be smooth. A lot of times things in life aren't smooth, and especially with non-metallic metal, these mid-tone colors can excel when they aren't smooth. And then when you put your highlight on, you might have to get a little bit smoother with it because it's in a closer, tight-knit spot where you get this shine going down the cylinder. But, I mean, I'm just painting a big, thick line down the cylinder of that thing, right?
Yeah.
This is not hard. The hardest thing is what I'm doing right now. Is get those little bitty things so you don't get it on the yellow. Right? But
deadbeat artist, yeah, that zoom. Yeah, these things can get pretty zoomed in. The magic of black lining can take care of a lot of that too, says Northrex.
What's that?
Black lining? Are you talking about like adding black lines back in, Northrex? The T-Terrace asking, so if you're painting a yellow base tone, then it can make sense to prime white.
It could be, yeah.
But still to treat a paint.
But you still got to find your shadows, right? I'm like, you know, I told you yesterday, or not you, but you know, I mentioned in chat yesterday.
Yeah, you were mentioning it yesterday.
The big key is if you're going to paint yellow, rather than trying to force yourself to start with something like white as a backdrop that creates its own issues with having to find a shadow for that and paint that shadow on the model, why not start with something that is like an orange, right? A dark brown or an orange or a darker version of the yellow you're going for, so that by the time you're painting yellow, which is a pain for a lot of people, they don't like painting yellow. By the time you're painting yellow, you're only painting yellow in a small area, right? When we punched in yesterday and showed you, the yellow on this gold that I've done only goes from there to there. Mm-hmm. That's the only place I painted yellow. The rest of it is the dark greens and undertones that are beneath it. So I don't have to worry about how yellow lays over all my colors. Yeah. I build up other colors that complement the yellow all the way, and the yellow lives in a very small area that's easy to paint. But because yellow is the punchy color, it looks yellow, right? When yellow is maybe 50% of the color that's actually visible on this, right? Yeah. The other color is the bright pale yellow, which is more of a white, and the greens. So only 50% of the color space is yellow, but it looks like gold because yellow is the punchiest color in there, other than the pale yellow, the white, that gives it the shine, right? So it's really balancing your brightest color against your mid-tone of yellow, but you don't have to paint a whole lot of yellow to pull it off. So if I was painting yellow, most of the model, the same way we did the thing where we painted white and said, hey, you know, the easiest way to paint white armor is to not paint any white. Like the only white that's really on here is transparent white as a filter, and then the white that I do on the edges for the edge highlighting. Yeah. Right? But nobody would argue that it isn't white armor. There's no white, right? It's actually the same colors I used on this cloak. I just didn't go as bright.
Yeah.
On the cloak as I did on the armor. Right? And so there's no white here, but it appears white. And I would not have been able to just have as easy a time if I had tried to paint white over my black primer. I painted dark gray, light gray, or dark gray, medium gray, light gray over the top of it. Same with this yellow. This yellow didn't start with yellow. That yellow started with burnt orange or orange oxide.
It was orange oxide, I believe.
Orange oxide. And then warm yellow mixed with orange oxide, and then warm yellow, and then the bright pale yellow over the top of that. So I'm never forcing myself to paint yellow over a dark color. I'm painting a dark color that complements yellow, like orange or brown or something like that, and then going to lighter versions of that color, which are easier to paint, lighter orange, lighter brown, yellow orange, yellowish browns, golden browns. Those are all easier to paint than pure yellow. And then you put pure yellow at the very end. And the whole thing magically looks yellow, even though 90% of it isn't yellow.
Yeah, right. It's that final step that really is the kicker for these kinds of things.
And most people coming into it think, oh, I want to paint it yellow, so I put yellow down. And then black primer is the scariest thing on the planet because black primer makes every bright color look like butt. Right? Because you put it over the top of black and it makes yellow look greenish, right? Yellow over black doesn't look great. And doesn't give you good coverage, so you spend a ton of time building up layers, and those layers build up texture, and that texture looks bad, so everybody's fighting it and saying, oh, my paint looks horrible, oh, I wish I didn't buy this brand of paint, the yellow sucks, and I'm like, no, the yellow is what yellow is, because it's a transparent pigment. Now, there are definitely qualities of paint, but at the end of the day, it's learning how to make sure your paint doesn't have to work harder than it needs to give you the color you want. And that can be all of these other things that you see. And you'll see it every day here. The fact that my steel, I don't start with a bright, gray. I start with the Payne's gray, the dark blue gray, and then I build color up over the top of it until it gets to the color I want. And then when I'm painting the bright color, I don't suffer. The bright color looks great with one coat, right? And is very specific, and I don't have to worry about it anymore. And that does everything you need it to do. So, and that's true with every color. So,
Jason, it's just about that time.
El Rondorio, Michigan Toy Soldier, awesome. Is there a tutorial for yellow? Yeah, we have a couple on the YouTube channel. That Space Marine helmet that I painted yellow, I think, is on a video on there someplace from a long time ago. The one, the Marine I can't find. But we did
somewhere.
We did the all of the methodologies for all the Marines are up there, and we did the methodology for painting this guy. Right, so on our methodology page, there's this, and the green and the blue Space Marine. We did a Space Marine a day, and all of those are up there. Right.
Yep.
So this was a lesson in exactly what I just said. It started out as burnt orange, moved up to where I really didn't have a whole lot of yellow on it, and then I put transparent yellow back over the whole model, and that's where the yellow came from. And I get this non-metallic metal kind of yellow armor out of it that way. So that, as a process, unfortunately, isn't captured on film. We did it on stream years ago, but in the methodology, it shows you all the colors that I used and the steps that I took to get there. But yeah, this all started off as like brown and orange and then pale yellow. It didn't look yellow at all. And the transparent yellow over the top turned it in. That's the same thing we did with the Ultramarine, right? All of these guys, I was showing off the transparent paints because they launched about the same time that this whole box set came out. The first Dark Imperium box set, where they introduced Primaris Marines. And we did the same thing. We just sketched in a bunch of stuff on them and then used a lot of the blue transparent back over the top of the model to get the blue lined out. So, easy painting methods.
Nice.
Yellow shouldn't be fearful for anybody. It's an easy color to paint. It's not the first color you should ever use. I think that's the easiest way to say it. If you start with yellow, you're doing it wrong. Even if you're painting flame, you should paint it white first, right? So every time you'll see us painting OSL, what have I done here, right? I've painted the OSL spots bold titanium white.
Yeah.
So that whatever color I put over there is going to be 100 times more vibrant than it would be if I tried to paint the yellow. If I wanted these to all be green glow, I wouldn't want to try to paint the green glow over the black primer.
Yeah.
Right? So I paint it white, so it gives me a super vibrant base to start from for OSL. Same thing for, flames or anything that's going to be, kind of a light source. I would do the same deal. But if you want it to be dirtier yellow, then start with browns and oranges and things like that. All right, everybody.
It's about that time.
Chris is kicking us out. Dad says it's time to go to bed and we have to turn the lights off.
Closing time.
And give him our iPhone. Dang it.
They're resin. Those are resin bases, bud.
Which ones?
Your Space Marine ones.
These are cork.
Oh, I'm sorry. I thought maybe those are cork.
These are all cork. These are all just the bases that came with them, and I just put cork on the top.
Oh, okay. I thought those were the resin ones.
Yeah, believe it or not, on stream, we did these as a tutorial on how to just do cork very quickly.
Yeah.
We just put the cork down, and then we sealed the cork with our basing material.
Nice.
We put a thin coat of our concrete basing material on the top, and then we just loaded in the fine basing material around the bottom.
Yes, Jason will be going to Indy this week or tomorrow. And
I'll leave tomorrow.
Good stuff.
Thank you, Chuck. I am leaving tomorrow, and I will only be there Saturday, and I don't know how much time I'll have at the booth, but I'm going to swing by the booth and be there for a little bit, so hopefully I get to meet some people over there. And then I'm loaded up with meetings, and I leave at like 6 a.m. on Sunday. It's literally like a dine and dash for me. I'm going to go in and have dinner with the crew on Friday, meetings all day, Saturday, dinner with the AMG guys on Saturday night, and then home on Sunday. So, huzzah! It'll be lightning fast. All right, Indy, named after the dog. So thanks so much for everybody hanging out. If you're new around here, please hit the follow button if you're on Twitch, or the sub button if you're over on our YouTube. We do this 5 days a week, Monday through Friday, 2 p.m. to 4 p.m. Monument Standard Time here in Phoenix, Arizona from Monument HQ. Remember, I will be gone tomorrow, but Jordan and Chris will be here. Are you doing the review tomorrow?
Yeah.
So they're doing the July Discord Challenge review tomorrow, so make sure if you have models in there to join in. And even if you didn't, it's a great way to see how strong the community is with their support and their painting. Great inspirational stuff that we do over on the Discord. Make sure to hit the Discord link and all the links that Chris put in chat there, as well as checking out the Monument Store link if you've never tried our products. Pro Acryl is us. All the wonderful Pro Series brushes, we make them all in-house. We'd love to give them a try next time you need some supplies for your miniature painting hobby. I think you'll love them. Thank you for all the support over the years. Make sure to stick around. Chris is going to find us somebody to raid, so show some love in the chat you wind up in. Enjoy the hobby for this evening, and I will catch you guys back here on Tuesday. Have a wonderful weekend. I'm out.